These are supporters of Niger's junta. Hundreds of them crowded the capital of Niamey on Thursday, cheering for the military and protesting against West African sanctions. The people of Niger are free today, says this woman, a day she said she never saw coming. Others decried the sanctions imposed by the Economic Community of West African State, or ECOWAS. They were announced after President Mohamed Bazoum was overthrown last week. General Abdourahmane Chiani, the former head of Niger's presidential guard, has since declared himself head of state. Regional defense chiefs are in talks about a possible intervention to restore democracy. This is the 7th coup in West and Central Africa since 2020 and follows recent military takeovers in Mali, Burkina Faso, and Guinea. ECOWAS said coups will no longer be tolerated in the region, adding it could authorize the use of force if soldiers did not restore Bazoum to power by Sunday. Chiani cited persistent insecurity as justification last week, as an Islamist insurgency continues to rage in the region. But an analysis of data shows that security was actually improving, thanks to tactics used by Bazoum's government and help from French and US forces. Violent incidents in Niger were down nearly 40% in the first half of 2023, compared to last year. That's according to the Armed Conflict Location and Event Data Project, a US-based crisis monitoring group. Coups, on the other hand, have seemed to stoke insecurity. ACLED data showed violence has soared in Mali and Burkina Faso since their militaries took power. Last year, deaths in Mali linked to violent incidents doubled to nearly 5,000. In Burkina Faso, they rose 80% to more than 4,000. Security analysts warn that the situation could allow groups linked to Al-Qaeda and Islamic State to expand their reach across the region.
Amadou Monkala is a truck driver in Niger. He was en route to deliver a truckload of onions to Ghana when last week's military coup forced him to do a U-turn and return to the capital Niamey as borders slammed closed. Now he is among scores of drivers stranded in limbo with perishable products, a result of the stiff sanctions imposed by Niger's regional and international partners after the military takeover, aimed at bringing coup leaders into line through economic and political pressure.
The consequences are disastrous because we have to sell onions here in Niamey because we can't go. If we leave it on the truck like that, for a week at most, it's going to start going bad, maximum 1 week.
The closure of borders by the Economic Community of West African States poses a special threat to landlocked and impoverished Niger. Amid a worsening food crisis, the majority of key imports, including rice, would normally be trucked from neighboring countries. According to UN's World Food Programme in July, 3.3 million people in Niger are facing acute food insecurity. Yakuba Almu is the Secretary General of the Truckers Union in Niger.
We appeal to the countries that impose the sanctions on us to know that we are working together. The fact that they took this decision shows that they have no respect for the people of Niger. The president of Benin should respect Niger, which works with their port. He forgot everything in one day.
According to US government data, up to 1,000 vehicles a day would normally travel the trade corridor between the port of Cotonou in Benin and Niamey, many carrying goods to markets, making it one of the busiest crossings in West Africa. The junta in Niger announced overnight on Wednesday that borders with Algeria, Burkina Faso, Mali, Libya and Chad had reopened. But those with Benin and Nigeria and the vital links to their Atlantic ports remain closed due to ECOWAS sanctions.
I will say that the U.S. Embassy in Niamey is open. We intend for it to remain open. We remain committed to the people of Niger and our relationship with the people of Niger, and we remain diplomatically engaged at the highest levels. That's something that will continue. I will also say that the safety and security of our personnel and of U.S. citizens overseas is our highest priority. We constantly monitor events on the ground and make decisions based on what's appropriate to safeguard our personnel. We're monitoring the situation on the ground and making the decisions we need to ensure their security now, but I don't have any further announcements at this time.
Regarding the current situation in Niger, let me flag up front that there are no changes at this time to the U.S. military force posture in Niger during the U.S. Department of State-led ordered departure. Additionally, State Department has not requested DoD personnel or equipment as part of the ordered departure. Also, no policy decisions have been made regarding future security cooperation. And in the meantime, as we previously said, we're taking prudent force protection measures and monitoring the security situation. As we continue to move forward, we will monitor the situation, which is fluid and evolving. And I would reiterate that the U.S. government focus remains on a diplomatic solution.
For U.S. military personnel.
There's no changes to the U.S. military force posture in Niger or policies at this time. Our forces there in Niger continue to cooperate daily with Nigerian forces to keep base operations and services functioning. And so as I mentioned, we're continuing to monitor the situation, which remains fluid and evolving. But right now, again, our focus is going to continue to be on a diplomatic solution to the situation there.
So staying inside the base for now?
They're staying on the bases. As I mentioned earlier this week, if there is a reason that they need to go off base to engage with counterparts, certainly conditions permitting, they're doing that. But for force protection reasons, largely remaining on the bases and, again, cooperating with the Nigerian forces to keep those bases running.
And then just arm either U.S. forces or that
we have clear policies and procedures in place when it comes to safeguarding and protecting sensitive information. And so if those rules are violated, appropriate action will be taken as it has in the cases that were highlighted.
You've just seen them fail again in this case.
The broader issue of espionage or the lack of proper handling of classified information is something as old as warfare itself. That said, again, we have a robust set of policies and procedures going through the situation that you're referencing in terms of the airmen. As you know, we have done a very thorough analysis on steps that can be taken to further tighten controls, and we're working through that process now.
Harassing and seizing ships in the Hormuz Strait.
Yeah, we previously announced the decision to deploy the Baton Amphibious Readiness Group Marine Expeditionary Unit into the area of responsibility there, as well as F-35s, F-16s, and A-10s. But as it pertains to that particular reporting, I don't have anything to provide.
So we have an understanding of what the current status is. Thanks.
By increasing the presence, by working with our partners in the region, and stepping up the tempo and pace of our patrols writ large around the region. The intent, again, is to be closer, to be able to respond quicker to any potential provocations and to deter any type of Iranian aggression. And so we will continue to be focused on that.
We've been tireless in our diplomatic engagements at the highest levels to help the people of Niger preserve their hard-earned democracy. As the president said in his statement this morning, Niger is facing a grave challenge to its democracy, and at this critical moment, the United States stands and will continue to stand with the people of Niger. I want to reiterate our support for democratic values, for constitutional order, for the rule of law, and for human rights, including the right of peaceful assembly. And we continue to call for the safe release of President Bazoum and his family. And we've also been steadfast in supporting the efforts of ECOWAS, the African Union, and other governments in the region to help mediate this crisis. The steps of a few are not just subverting Nigerian democracy, they are also undercutting Nigerian security, creating a potential vacuum that terrorist groups may very well try to exploit. And while we are giving diplomacy a chance, and we still are giving it a chance, we're going to continue to review all our options around our cooperation with the Nigerian government given these events. We remain concerned that the DPRK continues to contemplate providing military support to Russia's military operations against Ukraine. Russian Minister of Defense Sergei Shoigu recently traveled to North Korea in a bid to convince North Korea to sell munitions to Russia to support Russia's war. To that end, Our information indicates that Russia is seeking to increase military cooperation with the DPRK, such as through DPRK sale of artillery munitions, again to Russia.
Est-ce que nos soldats vont y aller? D'abord, dire pourquoi nos soldats doivent y aller.
Are our soldiers going to go? Ask why should our soldiers go there? They are going for two reasons. The first is because we are in a community organization that has decided that, and that is called ECOWAS, otherwise known as the Economic Community of West African States. Senegal is an international signatory. We can't be a member of ECOWAS without subscribing to the decisions taken by it at the Heads of State Summit, and Senegal is an eminent member of that communal organization.
Voilà pourquoi on y va. Maintenant, j'avais pensé que vous alliez me demander pourquoi on ne l'a pas fait pour Mali, pourquoi on ne l'a pas fait pour Guinée, pourquoi on ne l'a pas fait pour Burkina et pourquoi on le fait pour Niger. Si je donne une réponse simple, je dis parce que c'est le coup de trop. La CEDEAO a pensé que maintenant, il faut y mettre fin. Maintenant, oui, pour répondre définitivement à la question, les militaires sénégalais, pour toutes ces raisons, vont y aller. Au moment où je vous parle,
the conviction of Senegal is that we must stop these coups d'etat. That is why we are going. Now I reckon you are going to ask me, so why if you didn't do the same for Mali, why didn't you do that for Guinea? Why didn't you do that for Burkina? All had coups in recent years. Why are you doing it?
Pourquoi ils vont y aller et comment ils iront? Ils sont en train de se concerter et de le faire parce que, rappelez-vous, il a été donné un délai, pour ne pas dire ultimatum, d'une semaine pour que le tout se mette en place au Niger.
From West Africa's regional bloc, ECOWAS, are slated to meet in Nigeria on Wednesday to discuss the latest situation. But Niger's neighbors, Mali and Burkina Faso, which also experienced coup, earlier warned against any outside intervention to restore the ousted government, saying it would be seen as a declaration of war.